is day number 2 of NFL free agency, and we'll set the scene for you here on the latest edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. We'll talk all things Justin Fields, also Patrick Queen. We'll go over the tracker of players the Seahawks did not bring back and where things stand with members of the Seattle Seahawks of whether they'll come back or not. We'll catch up to speed on everything you need to know in just a matter of moments. Before we do, folks, a reminder, we are your Seattle Seahawks free agency headquarters. Yesterday, we were live on air for 7 hours. And if the Seahawks make a big move again, we'll be live right here on the channel. We're going to be live again tomorrow. So lock us in. Help us reach our next milestone of 51,000 subscribers on the channel. Less than 300 away from doing so. If you love the Seattle Seahawks, this is the channel for you. You ain't alive, you ain't subscribed to Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. Let's start with Justin Fields. Bleacher Report, among many other outlets, are heating up the rumors in regards to the idea of Justin Fields coming to Seattle. And the big change of sorts that's gone on in the last few days is that the trade market for Justin Fields has wavered a lot, comparatively speaking to what the Chicago Bears were looking for. They were hoping for a first or second round pick, but the feedback that they've gotten from a lot of different teams across the league is the belief that they don't think Justin Fields is even starter quality in the National Football League. And so with that said, could that open up the door for the Seahawks to swoop in and get Justin Fields potentially on a discount? Here's more from Bleacher Report's Joseph Zucker. It's looking increasingly likely that Fields will wind up as a backup on whatever team he gets traded to. In that scenario, the Seattle Seahawks are a sensible destination despite Geno Smith coming off of his second straight Pro Bowl nod. We're seeing this. Asking prices starting to just drop like a rock. And the longer this goes on, the more appealing this becomes for the Seahawks. They were never in the market to give up a first-round pick for Justin Fields. The Seahawks don't have a second-round pick. And so, as I have told you all for the last couple of months, that I'm open to the idea of a Justin Fields trade, but at the right price. And if this continues, I think we go back to what I've been telling you all. A third-round pick, give up one of the 2 third-round picks the Seahawks have, all of a sudden, that makes a ton of sense to me. And then I keep Geno around, too, and Fields as the backup. And then if something happens to Geno, give Fields a shot here. To me, that is an opportunity that makes a ton of sense, potentially. We know that Geno isn't the long-term solution. Maybe you bring Justin Fields in, give him a shot, and see what he's got potentially to be your guy. The numbers from Justin Fields, we haven't seen him look spectacular, but if we're going to be honest here, he hasn't been in a situation where he's been set up to succeed. An incompetent head coach in Matt Eberflus, a terrible offensive line there in Chicago as well. His numbers have just been okay. They haven't been as good as Geno's numbers. We know that he's a very good rushing quarterback, but still waiting to see if he can be that superstar talent that he many thought people believed he was going to be when he was coming out of the Ohio State. So let's ask you, our pinned comment today, knowing that the asking price is coming down, should the Seahawks trade for Justin Fields? T for trade, P for pass. Weigh in, let us know what you think. Patrick Queen remains the Seattle Seahawks' top free agent target outside of the Seahawks organization, and rumors are really heating up in regards to the idea of bringing Queen to Seattle with the events that unfolded within the last 48 hours. Here's more from AZ Sports' Nicholas McGee. Brooks' departure in an offseason in which the Seahawks have also allowed veteran Bobby Wagner to test the market will fuel talk that Seattle will be in the mix to sign Patrick Queen, former Ravens linebacker who thrived under McDonald last season. So, for me, this is about making the money work, right? If the money is there, if the Seahawks can be flexible with Patrick Queen and maybe even move around some more money with other players, then this feels like the direction the Seahawks are going to go. With Jordyn Brooks moving on to the Miami Dolphins, the Seahawks had the money available to pay Jordyn Brooks and opted to let him go otherwise. So that tells me that there's a plan in place to do something here. And then we heard the report from Jeremy Fowler within the last 24 hours of ESPN saying that he anticipates that the Seahawks will not retain Bobby Wagner. So what is it then? Because you can't just take care of this all in the draft, right? Even if you would like to, not everything can be solved right there. And so that leads me to Patrick Queen. This feels like the direction the Seahawks are going to go, that Mike Macdonald has his guy, and the Seahawks seem to be the favorites everybody's talking about. So will they be able to get it done? Because here's the truth of the matter here, okay? If you don't get Patrick Queen, you let Jordyn Brooks walk, and you let Bobby Wagner walk, you're screwed. You're in trouble at that point. So it all points to Patrick Queen at this point in time. Now, the salary cap. This is where things get a little tricky. With the new deal for Leonard Williams yesterday, and with the new deal for Noah Fant, all of a sudden your cap space is around $23 million. That's what we're estimating it's at right now. Now, we'll see exactly what they do with the cap hits for this year with Noah Fant and Leonard Williams when those numbers get revealed. But our estimate at the moment is that it's $23 million. So in a nutshell, it's not a ton of money to spend when you still have to sign your draft picks as well coming up later on next month. So with that said, what type of player could you potentially be getting out of Patrick Queen? The question I have about Patrick Queen, although he's coming off the best season of his career where he was a second-team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler, 3.5 sacks, a career-high 133 tackles. What I wonder with Patrick Queen, who is he without Roquan Smith? Roquan Smith, he got to play alongside the best inside linebacker in football, and that's when Patrick Queen's play really elevated the last 2 seasons, was when he got to play alongside Roquan Smith. And then on top of that, with the Patrick Queen factor in all this, is yes, he did excel in Mike Macdonald's defense, but how much of that had to do with Roquan Smith along his side? And if he comes to Seattle, he would be in Roquan Smith's role as the green dot of the Seahawks defense. So you're not asking him necessarily to do what he did in Baltimore. You're asking him to take on an increased role. And I don't know if Patrick Queen is ready for that task, quite frankly. Here's the Seahawks linebacker depth chart right now. You read that right. There are no inside linebackers at the moment. So there will be change coming to this linebacker room. What will it look like? It sounds like that Patrick Queen is step number 1, and then we'll figure out everything from there. Will they get it done? Are the Seahawks going to sign Patrick Queen? Y for yes, in for no. Why in the comments section, tell us what you think. Some more movement today on the free agency front as Seahawks offensive guard Damian Lewis is off to Carolina to join the Carolina Panthers, reuniting with Dave Canales, the former Seahawks QB coach, who's now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, on a 4-year, $53 million deal. And Lewis was a guy that I think a lot of folks would have liked to seen back in Seattle, but the asking price for him, as well as other offensive guards right now, is just so high. That was, to me, a surprise of evaluating this free agency market within this first day, is how expensive offensive guards are going for. I would expect the Seahawks to either replace Lewis in the draft or via trade. I know that the Seahawks have some young prospects there when you talk about the interior of the offensive line, from Olu to Anthony Bradford, but that's not going to be enough. They're going to need more pieces. But the offensive guard market at the moment is just too expensive, and Lewis got too high. So let's go to the list of players that are still available from the Seattle Seahawks on the free agent market. Bobby Wagner, seems unlikely that he'll return to Seattle right now, but things could change. Evan Brown at the center position, not opposed to bringing him back. Drew Lock, we'll talk more about him in just a moment. He's sitting out there. There was speculation about him going to Minnesota. Ultimately, they go with Sam Darnold. There's also been talk potentially about him returning to Denver. DJ Dallas is out there as well. I'd be surprised if DJ Dallas comes back to the Seahawks. Mario Edwards also still available on the free agent market right now. as is Phil Haynes. Artie Burns also on that list. Jason Peters. And then a couple of restricted free agents, Darrell Taylor and Mike Jackson, also available at this point in time. What's next for the Seahawks? What will they do? I expect them to take care of that linebacker position, whether it's Patrick Queen or somebody else. And then if they don't trade for Justin Fields, if they don't pull off a blockbuster deal for Fields, then I think it's re-sign Drew Lock as the team's backup. They've been pretty vocal that they like Drew Lock as a backup, and I think we can all agree Drew Lock is fine as your backup quarterback. None of us want Drew Lock to be your starting quarterback, but he's fine as a backup, and I think that's okay, and I think that's how the Seahawks feel at this juncture. So we've gone over the list now of the players that the Seahawks could potentially re-sign, of their free agents that are out there, and knowing the money situation. Who would you like to see come back? Is it Bobby? Is it Evan Brown? Is it Drew Lock? Is it somebody else? Weigh in the comments section. Let us know who you think. I still would like to see Bobby find a way to come back to Seattle one way or the other. Even if Patrick Queen's there, let Bobby still be the green dot and Patrick be the guy next to him, similar to his role that he had in Baltimore. That's what I'd like to see personally. What would you like to see? Let us know in the comments section. For the latest happenings on your Seattle Seahawks throughout all of free agency and this entire offseason, lock us in on Seattle Seahawks today. We'll be back later on today with another update on your Seattle Seahawks. We'll see you then. Subscribe now, and we'll see you next time.